Good
live. And we're
evening,
live.
and thank you everyone tonight for joining me on another edition of Spanning the Need. I am your host, Anthony Spano. Tonight we're going to talk about podcasts, and the host of a local podcast in the Youngstown area located in Poland, Ohio, the MLO Bros.
Hey,
Isaac
everybody.
and Luke.
Good.
How we doing, guys?
I feel so underdressed right now because you are in a armchair. It was at a chair. You have a nice little light behind. I'm in the basement with a sleeveless shirt and tattoos. Isaac is
T-shirt.
What do you got? T-shirt.
And I'm actually kind of relaxed right now. I feel like usually we have to be in control and make sure everything's working, but we can kind of just relax a little bit since we're guests.
That's the whole point.
Nice.
That's literally the whole point. Is you guys are supposed to feel relaxed, laid back, and let me do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
it's kind of refreshing.
Mm-hmm. Very refreshing.
Well, but we're going to get a little bit into what's going on and how we're going to be doing that down the road. So actually what I'd like to do is get you talking about kind of how you kind of started and kind of like where you are, like what you do, how you're past, and kind of what you got up to, where you work now, and just kind of really go from there. And then we'll talk about how the podcast started and really grew. So whoever wants to start, Luke, we'll start with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since I'm the older one, I get to go first, I guess, right? So I have been in banking mortgages since 2005, 5, so a long time. And I've always worked at mortgage banks, like back in the day, Sky Bank and Huntington, and moved, jumped around and stuff, and decided to get to as close as you can go this in January of this year, and as close as you can get to becoming self-employed. So it's called Nationwide Mortgage. It's basically my own branch. I run it like my own company, but we lend under Nationwide Mortgage. And then COVID hit, and I was like, okay, we're totally wrong time. But what happened with COVID, which kind of surprised me, was rates just tanked. And when rates go down, everybody refis, everybody purchases. So for me, COVID has been, like, work-wise, has been amazing for the mortgage industry. So we've been so busy. It's been so awesome. Terrible that, again, COVID and all that, but from a work point of view, it's been a great year for us. So we're located in Poland, Ohio, and we'll get into the podcast. But the first person I hired when it started going good was my little brother. So he's also a loan officer now with me, and we have O'Keel Gist, who's a Youngstown person for sure. Lives downtown, worked for a couple companies down there, and and we're pumping out, and we're trying to do things a little bit different, which is where we get into the podcast and into the different stuff we're doing. So,
was your brother your best hire?
Wow,
when he has to think about it, that's well, watch your back, Luke. Watch your back during the holidays.
There is a 16-year gap between us, obviously, for my gray spots, and he's young and fry. So I mean, I'm the oldest of four. He's the youngest. So I
know love through insults is all I'm gonna get from his brother.
He's been a very good loan officer.
Go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, so I was in the trucking industry before I became a loan officer, and I just saw the market tanking because of COVID, which it did. And Luke, back in February, I believe, he's like, hey, why don't you come become a loan officer? You can work as my assistant for a little bit until you get your license, and then we can work together from there, and eventually you can get your own clients and get moving. And that's what I did. And right out of the gate, that's where we stumbled upon the podcast. Is we need something while we're sitting at home. We need something to get you new clients, but also maybe entertain the public as they're bored at home. So then we came up with the MLO Bros from there.
Well, and let's look, before we get into the podcast, is how has the pandemic really changed the way that your business has? You talked about how it's growing, unfortunately, in a type of pandemic. Yeah. But is the market still there?
It is, man. purchase market and the refinance market is off. I mean, it's starting to slow down now just because of the time of year, because you get into Thanksgiving and the holidays and stuff like that. So people naturally stop looking to buy houses and then spring hits and you get super, super busy. But the market for refis have been crazy. I mean, I know we're like rate wise, we're still upper 2s to low 3s for a 30-year fix, depending on credit. And then I got to get my waiver in case somebody's watching. NMLS 562548 in case we get sued, right, Isaac? So we got to put that waiver in there. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's still super, super low. Refis purchase wise, the issue is more lack of inventory than it is approvals. And there's so many people looking for houses right now, but there's not a lot of houses for sale. And that's just that's all over our area, Northeast Ohio. I mean, the whole US. So the problem is you have people wanting to move or wanting to buy houses, but they can't find a house. Isaac, how many people do we have looking for houses?
Yeah, we have a bunch of people who we have pre-qualified right now that are just looking for homes, and it's not hurting the people who are older and wealthy that have a lot of money, that when it comes to negotiating the purchase, they can, if the listed price is 150,000, they could say, 160,000, and they win it every time. People it's hurting the most are like first-time home buyers who don't have that much to put down, who can't really compete with the, older, more wealthy buyers that have more money to put down, and offer a higher purchase price. So
yeah, and that seems to be, you see the market climbing right now. We hate to at least in this area, that's very seldom that we get a lot of people buying in inventory low.
Yeah, especially in this area. It is. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and this market right now is the biggest seller's market I've ever seen. And this isn't just like a COVID. This is the last year and a half. It's been like this, which is crazy. Houses going, and houses going in a day or two. They hit the market, boom, they're gone. It's across the board. So if you're looking
I know that from experience.
Do you? Did you sell or buy?
No, we've been interested in buying, my wife and I, but you look around. And then when you see a house, you'll get a notification a day later, pending. Doesn't mean that we were going to buy it. Yep. We've just seen, we look. You know how you just kind of look. Yep. But it's been a very up and down market lately.
Yeah, for sure. If we're talking stock market, oh my gosh, it's insane. And I don't think
remind me of the stock market.
Yeah, it should go up. With that vaccine, it jumped. I'm no financial advisor whatsoever, but it's going to be a rocky road until this COVID's over for sure. So,
absolutely.
Well, let's talk about how you kind of the two of you have come up with this podcast, MLO Bros. Excuse me. Talk about how this started, how it just came about. Were you two just talking over just the phone, or talk a little bit about how it started?
Yeah, so we were sitting and we were actually thinking about how I could get new clients as a loan officer just starting out in COVID. How the heck am I going to go out if I can't go anywhere? How am I supposed to get new clients and talk to real estate agents? And Luke and I were sitting there, and I've always been a huge fan of podcasts, especially Joe Rogan. And I'm like, what if we do something like community-based that is just like similar to Joe Rogan, where it's like laid back and not formal at all and just kind of a discussion, but at the same time, it's interviewing community leaders and mayors of Poland, whatever, that are just popular in the community and that people can actually relate to because it's in a laid back setting and not a formal setting. So then I brought it up to Luke, and Luke's the type of person where I bring something up to him and he thinks it's a good idea. He's like, well, we're doing it tomorrow, so get ready. And
I tend to do that.
Yeah, and that's the greatest thing about Luke, is because I have these ideas, and if he thinks it's a good one, he's like, well, let's go do it. I'm like, all right, sounds good, we're doing it.
Has he ever turned an idea down?
Oh yeah, he calls me an idiot all the time, but it's just
constantly. Yeah, it's not 100%. If I like it, I'll do it. If not, I'm going to call Isaac stupid.
Yeah.
It's brotherly love.
But the main point was it was during COVID when we started, and it was like there's such a need. Like we saw some of these businesses suffering at that point. You know what I mean? And it was like all over. We started it where we live in Poland, and then we just kind of expanded from there because we did one or two businesses, and then we actually had people calling us, "Hey, will you feature us? Hey, will you do this? Hey, will you do that? Help us out." And at that point, it was like, how do we not help these guys? You know what I mean? How do we not help them?
Yeah.
And now we have people calling us to be on our show. We're booked out. I don't mind. It's fun to do. We do it at 8:30 at night, so my kids are sleeping by then, so I can come in the basement as I am down here hiding from them right now because it's a little earlier. Yeah. And help the businesses. We've had local politicians, very, very similar to you. I mean, you got an all-star cast list of, people that have come on the show. But again, it's just, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. What's that?
I have all-stars right here.
You were definitely
scraping the bottom of the barrel when you got us. Yeah.
Everybody else did.
Well, I think the objective is you know what, you talk about community involvement. It doesn't matter we're all in this together.
Yep.
I mean, we're not Joe Rogan. I can tell you that right now.
No, absolutely not. No.
He's got more sponsors than I can shake a limb at.
Yeah.
I think the objective is, hey, broaden out as long as you can help the businesses, the community to better move it forward. That's at least what I'm about.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are about it as well.
Yeah. And also there was the entertainment. Like everybody was so bored during COVID that we figured 8:30 Tuesday, Thursday night, maybe, get some information out there of things that are going on in the community that, I mean, while people are stuck at home, I think it helped people get through it. And we had people text us saying they love it. They loved watching us, and it was great to have that entertainment. And that's what it's all about, man.
It's weird too. Like the strangest thing for me is anytime, and you think, oh, we're just going to do a podcast, and I'm not going to sound like some big star or anything like that, but we go out in Youngstown now, or we go to the store. I go to Walmart. I go, and luckily I have my mask on.
Yeah.
I'll be getting gas, and someone will yell. Like the people that follow us, we call the riff. It's the riffraff is what our little group of people is. It's a long story, but I'll be getting gas, and I'll just hear somebody yell "riff raff" as they drive by. I'm like, what is going on? It's insane. Yeah. So I mean,
a lot of fun.
Youngstown, doing this podcast, I realized Youngstown is much smaller than you think when you put your name out there. And we have, like I said, we have people calling us to come on the podcast. We actually, I didn't want to do it, but we had a couple people wanting to sponsor us. So then that way we could run ads on our show.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're taking the money, we're giving it to charity, we're putting it back in for better equipment. So then that way I'm not in the basement. But other than that, I mean, we're doing this 100% for charity. I mean, what have we raised, Isaac, for Celebrate Poland?
Yeah. Celebrate Poland. We've done work for Mahoning Valley, Food Bank or something. No, Second Harvest. Second Harvest. Yeah.
We're not going to give away, but November 20. What is it? The 21st. November 21st. We have a huge charity. We've been dropping videos. If you check out our Facebook page, you'll see that we have 2 videos out. We're not giving it away. You got to guess, but it's going to be a big Thanksgiving.
The event is called the Gobbler Giveaway. That's your hint, but.
Gobbler Giveaway, Anthony.
Yeah, the Gobbler Giveaway.
Well, and you know what, and I think what people may not understand, and maybe this may just be me, but it's just not getting online and calling it a day. I mean, there's preparation, there's research that you have to do on the people, and depending who they are, you got to get background information. You got to what you can and cannot say, and what you, well, it doesn't matter. We're not modified to FCC regulations.
Yeah.
Don't mention Pitbull to Isaac. Did you read that? Because Isaac hates Pitbull, the singer.
Oh, you can talk
Hey,
about Pitbull. I don't care.
I was about to bring that up too. I got plenty of insight.
He's got notepads on his
notes. What was interesting though was having you have your more not formal but like more formal guests, or like we had a school board member, Troy Polis from Poland, and we couldn't ask him certain questions because like legally we couldn't ask him those questions. So that was interesting. And then you have opposite end of the spectrum where people are asking, like, are we allowed to swear in your podcast? And it's like, I guess, like, go crazy. Like, there's no restrictions. You can do whatever you want, but just don't do anything.
You want to, I think I look at it as you probably want to be not every other word like Joe Rogan.
yeah. Not too crazy, but I mean, yeah. So
what about you, Anthony? Why did you start your podcast? Let's there's a question.
We'll get into.
I want to hear you.
Well, this isn't about me. This is about you two.
We need to have. Okay, wait, Isaac.
We're gonna flip it on to you.
We need to have it on Anthony on our show, then, correct?
Yeah, and then we'll ask him all kinds of questions. Yeah.
Can you come on? Is 8:30 too late for you sometime?
Oh no, it's past my bedtime. You know how old us we get. We'll talk. We'll work on it.
All right.
We'll work on it.
We're gonna have you on our show.
We talked about kind of how, like, when you first started, when you talk about you wanted to kind of branch out in the community, and you mostly started in Poland. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
And you kind of wanted to branch out. What was that like? What kind of messaging did you get when you started that in Poland? What kind of like feedback did you get? Did you get like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, you're funny. But what was kind of the notion out there when you kind of first started? Because I think you guys started around April.
Luke, I'm doing it. I'm throwing him under the bus. My first call was.
You're throwing me under the bus, or
no?
Luke?
Not you. Not you.
No.
Throwing. I called. I'm like, Luke, we need to get some people. What are we gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna call Larry's drive-thru in Poland and see if Larry himself wants to come on the podcast. I got his assistant on the phone, and I got the classic. Like I asked, hey, is Larry there? I'd love to ask him if he wants to come on our podcast. We're interviewing local celebrities in the Poland area, and I got the assistant, picked up the phone, and it's like, hold on 1 second. I could hear Larry talking in the background, and I got he's super busy. He doesn't want to do anything like that. I could hear him talking in the background. Didn't even want to give him the phone, but I don't know. We haven't even reached out to Larry since then, but I'd still love to have him on. But it was something.
You know, when we started in Poland, there was a couple things. So and I'll get into it. You know, when we wanted to start, we started our podcast first, and we were sharing. The only way we could really figure out to get the word out is through these Facebook groups. And there is another Facebook group. We Isaac and I run. We'll start there. I didn't ever want to run Facebook groups. Let's start there. And when I say like the community Facebook groups, sharing the news, gossiping, calling, you know, it sometimes it gets a little out of control. So I never wanted to do that. But Isaac and I figured the only way we could get our word out was through these groups. Because if you just post on your own page, you're really going to have a hard time getting out into the community.
Yeah.
So we started on another Poland Facebook group, and the lady let us post once, and the admin let us post once, and then after that said, I'm not letting you guys do it because you guys are boring or you're not helping. I don't know what it was. It was something.
She's like, you don't have any interesting content. You don't have any interesting guests. And we can't let you keep posting. So we're like, okay.
Kind of rude. So when somebody acts like that towards me, I automatically kind of go into, okay, you want to say that to me? So we created our own Facebook group. And now we have for Poland, and we have our own. I mean, we have just as many people as the other group. Probably a lot of people are double, you know, like with both groups, but it kind of gives you your own outlet. And we also so we're like, okay. That went for a while. Then we created everything Youngstown, everything Struthers, everything Canfield, and it's been working out great. I haven't done like an everything Boardman or any of those because those sites now allow us to post on there. So like I message them, hey, are you? Oh yeah, you know, are you cool if you we post on your group, oh, absolutely, we love what you guys are doing. So that's kind of how we integrated ourselves into the community and into the other areas too. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I think to start a podcast, it takes some patience.
Oh, for sure.
Because it depends who you get on the show and what, like you said, what content you're willing to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you start picking because you called Larry the drive-through guy, and you're always going to get you're always going to have the conversation.
Wings are good. Okay.
Hey, I like to say this: if you don't get a no from at least 3 people in a week, you ain't doing anything right.
Yeah, exactly.
We started, our first guest is my very good friend DJ Yoakley from YSN Live.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the
I know
streaming
DJ
football
very well.
He's awesome. So I had called the games for Poland for the football season for the last couple of years, and I was like, he does a lot of the online stuff. I was like, dude, we wanted to do this. He's like, I want to totally support you. Real awesome. He was our first guest. He got me on the StreamYard like you have, and then it just kind of went from there. We had people. We just kind of went with our people that we knew that owned businesses. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. And we had like Eric Wilhelm. We're really good friends now with Andrew DePaulo. We had him on the show, and then we actually went out like the next night and got absolutely hammered with him and his girlfriend.
Yeah,
that might not be good to say right now.
Yeah, it's okay. And then,
sorry,
are we not allowed to say we got hammered?
Huh? Oh, I didn't hear that.
No.
We went out and
didn't
got
hear
drunk
anything.
Yeah.
No, he didn't hear anything. We're good.
Okay, good. And then and then it just kind of grew from there, where we're asking businesses, and now people are calling us asking to be on the show, and mayors, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I think you look at. I think you always be careful on who's requesting to come on your show. I know I have bookings all the way into spring of next year already.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be very careful on what you want to project as a podcast, because I see potential growth for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot there. And let me ask you this: how has it changed you during this pandemic? Has it changed you in any way from doing this podcast in the pandemic?
I don't think so.
How
so? Like
have you been more personally or professionally? Well, we know that you, just to kind of branch out, number one. Number two, have you got a better understanding of the community? Have you understand where people are coming from? Have you?
Yeah.
That kind of turns it into something that's very special, that you're starting to get more engaged with the community.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Isaac. You wanna?
Yeah, it's if it's one thing, it's shown me the power and the importance of networking. Having contacts and the ability now, if someone needs something or has a good cause that they need to get the word out on something, we have the ability to help them out. And while doing that, it opens your eyes to people who really need help.
Having the business owners on, like, just for me, it's amazing to see. You have these business owners on, how much they put in to their companies, how much they care about their companies, how hard they work.
Their ability to adapt during COVID too was crazy.
I feel real bad. We have the restaurant owners on. We've had I don't want to miss it. We've had John Ruby from the Magic Tree.
Rudy.
We've had Rudy. I said it Ruby again. John Ruby from the Magic Tree. We've had Melissa Poland from Sweet Melissa's.
Yeah.
These people that own these restaurants just put their everything into it, working constant hours, and then to have COVID hit, and they're making it, but you could tell they're nervous and they're struggling. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And anything we could do to help, I feel like we need to help these people as much as we can, because limited capacity seating, takeout only. It's rough for these guys, and anything our podcast can do to help, I'm on board.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that. You kind of are at your, I don't know, 5th month, maybe 4th month, if my Howland math is good.
Is it more than that? Isn't it? Was it April?
So we're
5th month.
6. Okay, so 7 months. 7 months.
7 months. Yep.
7 months. What are kind of some of your plans moving forward? Anything you're looking forward to expanding? What are some of the plans that you guys kind of have talked about, or that you may be looking for in the future?
We kind of make this stuff up as we go. To be
we really do. We really do.
Plan wise, I mean, we're scheduled. We could be scheduled out farther. You said you're scheduled out until spring. Isaac and I kind of made the call where we don't want to schedule more than like 2 or 3 weeks out, because we want to be open if something happens where we could have somebody on.
Like a community event, or like
a charity event.
If something happens with COVID where schools get shut down, like we had Dr. Nino Rubino on it. He talked about COVID, and then like we talked about it right before school. So we'd like to stay on our toes in case something were to happen and we need to bring him on for COVID to talk about it. We can do that. So yeah, we really don't like to book too far out because of that.
Yeah. And then as far as like other plans, I want to keep this going with the 8:30 Tuesdays and Thursdays as long as we possibly can. Yeah. I want to we want to keep doing the videos that we do, because those videos I don't know if you've watched any of them. They're fun. We make these funny videos. We had a billboard that we kind of messed around with. We have a bunch of stuff. They're fun. They make people laugh. I just want to keep going that route, expanding more. I mean, yes, but it doesn't have to. You know what I mean? That's the podcast isn't our main source of income or anything. It's more of a side gig where we have fun and entertain and help companies and people.
And we don't want to get roped into that, like that thing that happens to podcasts where you feel like you have to do better and better and better and better every time, and more important guests over and over, and build and build and build. I mean, to some degree that is important. It's important to have genuine good content, which we will have. But yeah, I just want it to stay the way it is, where it's relaxed and laid back and not like getting too serious,
Well, I'll ask this because I recently had AC and Kelly on in the morning on my podcast.
Yeah,
I recently had them on. We went for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
And, and so we asked how they got together, and did you have any pet peeves of the other person during the show?
That is funny.
I got some.
You got? Oh, okay. I wasn't going to ask the question, but I might as well. Go ahead. I'm waiting for
26 years of pet peeves.
Oh, I'm just talking about with the show. Now, if you want to go outside the show, you're more than welcome.
No. I got show right here. Okay, things that drive me crazy that Luke does during a show. When he gets a work text, and he's doing this right here. So he has his phone and he has it over to the side, and he thinks that people don't realize he's doing it, but he does this the whole time.
Can you see my phone right now if I do this? Maybe I'll start doing this so I can text while of it. Can you tell?
Or he puts it down in front of the camera, so like he's looking down at it, and I know and like totally zones out, and I know the guest is like, so then I automatically go into my brother's in idiot mode, so don't worry, I'm paying attention, and I'm like with the guest, like, and then Luke does one of these too the entire podcast. I'll go like this.
It's how I think. This is my thinking. Look, Anthony's doing it right now. Look at him. He's got his hand on his face.
I'm trying to hold back a laugh.
It's like, Luke, just take your hands off your face and pay attention to the guest.
That's how I think.
You have ADHD, and
it
drives me crazy.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I totally do. I'm insane.
Drives me crazy.
Okay, what about him, Luke?
Oh,
It's a
things he
perfect little
does.
brother.
Yeah, things Isaac does that drives me crazy. It's more work related at this point than the podcast. Like
I like
work
to
related.
sing
You
in
can
the
do it
office,
personal
Luke.
too.
He
I like to sing in
work
the office.
related. I had to move him. So we have 2 offices. We have an office, or we have 3 offices, like office spaces. We have like all connected. One, my office, and then like it was a community room with like a big table, and then we have another office like down the hall. Isaac sings and whistles while I'm trying to work. I'm on the phone, and I had to kick him out into the far office, and I could still freaking hear him. And I'm like, "Close your door!" And so that's where we're at with working with family.
It's how I concentrate. It's how I focus.
It's how you concentrate. It's the worst singing. He does it on purpose, though. I know he does. So,
Well, don't we do things on purpose to drive our brothers or sisters up a wall?
Absolutely.
It's the talent of the younger brother. I know the buttons, and I love to push them.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I don't know how to drive Isaac absolutely crazy too, though. So it's fun though.
Well,
So
I wasn't going to ask that question, but we might have just
squirrel.
Well, I talked to them, and I talked about how, and you guys have it as well in a different sense, that you feed off each other. You almost finish each other's sentences in a variety of different ways, and that makes a good co-mingle host type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of talk about how you guys plan your interviews, and kind of just so people understand that other than, well, the reason why I ask that is because you have certain people on there. You have certain businesses. So how do you really present to them and really make them a better institution?
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, planning wise, I will do some Googling if I don't know the person or I need to learn a little bit about them. You know, and there's so much stuff you can find on Facebook, Google. I mean, everything. So I'll do that, but just so I know what we're getting into, upload logos, upload that kind of stuff. But as far as our interviewing goes, we kind of just go at it. We don't even like talking to the guests before we start. We'll say hello because we want it to be as raw as possible. Yeah. And then that way you kind of make stuff up as you go. And I would say 98% of the time, it works. There's that 2% where we've had a couple guests on where we are just struggling to get them to talk or struggling to be interesting. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is the longest hour and a half ever. Yeah. So it's like, it's rare, but it happens.
And I know, like, I like to, when I do prepare, it's only for if I know, when you're approaching a podcast, it's going to be a big deal. They're going to have a lot of viewers that come on and follow them on. So you want to make it good. I prepare for those. I prepare for the ones I don't know. I don't know a lot about the person, or I don't know about the topic we're going to talk about. Like politics. If it's a politician, a local politician, I have no idea what to ask. Those are the worst.
Who was what was his name that ran against Paul Gaines? Is it Ditzler?
No, that was Desmond something.
Desmond.
That was brutal. Like, I'm asking, what's a defense attorney even do? Like, I don't even,
he would go off on a tape for like 15 minutes, and Isaac or I are like, oh, could you go back and explain what that word was that you just said? Because I have no idea what it was.
Exactly.
Like it was bad.
Exactly. But my favorite are the ones where, like, DJ Yoakley or the mayor of Poland or, oh my gosh, Michael Ruley, Senator Ruley, like someone like them, where you don't even have to prepare. I mean, you could jot some questions down, but you don't even have to prepare because they're going to have a personality that works and that clicks.
You just and I've known most of those individuals. You just guide them. You come up with a plan, how you want to work in the questions and really just make it work. And that's what I've done. I mean, I've had Felix Wright from the Cleveland Browns on. I've had some NFL and stuff like that. And I've known him for these years. And I think what makes it good, and you guys do a good job. Trust me, I've had some rough ones.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to get stuff out of them. And,
exactly.
And usually I got a list of about 15 things that I can go to without knocking ahead or going in. And I think it just goes to just making sure that you can just get them talking and get the rhythm.
Yep, exactly.
And some people you have a good rapport with right out of the gate, and others it's kind of like, it's good, but if they're coming on a podcast, they want to talk most of the time, so they're going to talk. I mean, that's the way you kind of got to look at it. So
yeah, exactly.
And I think you agree with me. If you don't want to come on a certain podcast, then you shouldn't be going on, because then it makes our jobs difficult.
Yeah. Or I had a couple, one or two, where you ask them and they like, and then they just kind of agree to it, and it's like they don't genuinely want to be there, so it just doesn't lead to good conversation. If someone really wants to be there and they're excited to talk about their topic, it just makes it so much easier.
I would rather interview a mom and pop store or business that want to come on the podcast versus some big name that everybody knows that has no interest in being there.
And a perfect example of that. A perfect example of that is Melissa Poland from Sweet Melissa's.
Yeah.
We ordered takeout. She knew who we were. She had the order in the back, so that when I walked in, she's like, are you Luke? I'm like, no, I'm Isaac, but it's okay. I get that all the time. And she's like, you're an MLO bro, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm from Poland. I'm the owner of Sweet Melissa's, and I would love to come on your show. And I'm like, all right, you're coming on. Let's get it set up. And she was great. She was a fantastic guest.
And we get extra salad now whenever we order.
Yeah, she throws us some
extra side of ranch.
Oh, it's really good, man. If you've ever eaten there, I'll go get food there.
It's great. Place is great.
Well, so we talk a little bit about that. So now we're going to get to some in depth about your podcast.
Okay.
Oh,
look at him. He's papers.
All
right, let's go. Let's go. Right.
Okay. Who was your best guest that you've interviewed so far? Who was the most fun?
Well,
I don't like playing favorites. I hate this game. Go ahead.
You can name a couple. Whole bunch.
Fun's that's a good. I think our most watched and most educational and really surprised me is how he came off when he was on the show was Nino Rubino, Dr. Nino Rubino. We had him on twice because you think doctor and a lot of people think doctor slap this. I mean, Nino is my family doctor. He's our kid's doctor. I mean, he's awesome. He's, and he spoke facts, but he also gave his opinion, which from a doctor sometimes is hard to get, where it was like, I think it's going to do this. I think we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And these are the facts along with it. So he's every time we've had him on, it's been a really good show, because especially when you're in the middle of a pandemic, you got a doctor on, and he's just a local doctor in Poland, but he knows his stuff. So he was really, really good.
Like I said before, people like to see him out of that doctor setting, just in normal people clothes, hanging out, just talking and giving his opinion, like Luke said. So people eat that up. That was interesting. And Andrew DePaulo was so much fun, because then we convinced him to say live on air, moist pickle, the next day on the news for charity.
we gave $200 if he said moist pickle.
So he worked that into the news, the midday weather forecast, and it was great.
It was awesome.
It was great.
And what else? Great. Who else did we have on? I know you had Eric Wilhelm on. He's a super knowledgeable weather guy.
Yeah,
my gracious.
He really gets into it too. That was awesome.
And then just like I said, all the business owners. I love having the local business owners on, because they have a story. They have families. They're trying their best. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. I really do.
Yep.
Because to me, being a business owner, like your own company, is tough. I think it's brave, and I think it's something that deserves recognition. So.
Well, and I think you talk about the doctor, and 1 week I had education week. I had guys for the masks, talk about what works, what doesn't. I had the president of a university in Pennsylvania, and I had superintendents locally, because what was really going on behind the scenes, no one knows unless you talk, and they had time to talk. So I get what you're going at, and you want the stuff people need to hear, especially with going through the pandemic. A person who you'd want to interview. It could be anyone, like a sports celebrity, anything.
Luke, who are you thinking?
You go first.
Why are you laughing so much, Luke?
Yeah.
Because I want to have Tim Ryan on. That's what I know. Tony, somebody said to me today, he is a huge Tim Ryan fan. Is that true or false?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I worked for him.
So I want to have Tim Ryan on, because here's the thing, and this is spiraled into something totally out of control.
Come on our podcast. He will never come on our podcast.
At one point, like 5 or 6 years ago, he made a decision that I didn't agree with. So I said I was going to tag him constantly in like Facebook posts until he responded. It's just like Congressman Ryan, and he never did. So at this point, everybody's like, dude, what is your problem with Tim Ryan? And I'm just like, he just, this, that, and the other. But it would just be fun to have him on.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear what he has to say. There's some things I really disagree with, some of the stuff originally when he went into office. I think I agreed with him more, and he's kind of changed as he's gone on with some of his beliefs. I just like to have him on and talk to him. But the main reason why I like to have Tim Ryan on is to have him on, have him just like we are right now on the computer, and have Isaac just go to me, okay, Luke, you got him on. Now you're going to talk like a big tough guy or not? And I would just go like, nope, I'm good. I don't want to say one word to him.
Millions and millions of Facebook posts, and now you got him in front of you. What do you want to say to him, Luke?
Yeah. I would totally whip out and be like, no,
and
that's
I think
good.
we could totally break him down with our goofiness too. It would be fun to actually just, get him out of his, shell, hopefully.
What about you, Isaac? Who do you want to have on?
I would really like to have Larry's drive-thru on. Like, it seriously hurts me that he still will not come on the podcast. He probably hates me at this point, but one day I'm going to walk into Larry's drive-thru and I'm going to convince that man to come on the podcast. And he's going to be super, super into it, and it's going to be a great interview.
Give him a business card.
You know what we need to do? We just need to go down there with our cell phones and go Facebook Live from his thing. We're looking for Larry.
Larry, you get your ass out here.
That's what we need to do, is just go down there and call him out. Call him to the carpet.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
Well, welcome to the MLO Bros, my friend. Welcome to the MLO Bros.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
But I don't know who else. I don't know, like a big – I'd love to get the mayor of Youngstown on. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I would love to – who else? Who else would be cool? I don't know.
Well, let's go beyond that. Mm-hmm. Who would be, if you could get a good person outside this area? It could be a politician, a big one. It could be a sports celebrity. Could be a comedian. Who would kind of be someone that really that you look up to, or you really would love to have on the show to pick their brain?
John Stamos. No, I don't know. Luke,
that is an interesting answer, John Stamos. Man, anybody.
I'm turning the things on you now. I'm the one asking all the questions.
Yeah, it's different. Honestly, at this point, I'd want to have the governor on. I if I could, I would want to have the governor on. With COVID, with the decisions he's making, with the decisions I think he's going to have to be making here very soon, it would be very, very interesting to ask that guy some questions.
It's going to be also interesting to see what he has tomorrow at 5:30.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know what the number.
He's actually a decent guy.
I think he's a decent guy who's stuck in a position where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, you say we're shutting down, you're going to have 50% of the people riot. You say we're not shutting down, you're going to have 50% of the people say, why aren't we shutting down? I mean, that is a lose-lose situation, and I am glad I'm not in that position.
Well,
So-
I mean, you had Dr. Amy Akin, who is from the Liberty Youngstown area, graduated from Youngstown State, who people just ripped, which she's not a politician. She's a health person, health
Right.
professional. And
Yeah.
I think that shows differently on what's going on.
She got a bad rap, but it's just like the election last. I mean, our country is split down the middle, and it's not just Democrat, it's Republican, it's mask, no mask,
Yeah.
shutdown, no shutdown. It's the government's gonna tell you what to do. I'm not doing what the government tells me what to do, and it's just it is not just Republican Democrat.
Well, do you guys want to put on our tinfoil hats and talk about how a 90% effective vaccine comes out the Monday after the election week? You guys want to talk about that?
Do we want to go down that rabbit hole?
Good.
It's Anthony's podcast, so I guess it's not. We can save that for our podcast.
We can save that.
We're like hijacking the podcast.
Hey, you know what? It's one of those things. Is like as long as you're enjoying your time, I'll go almost pretty much down any route within reason.
I am having a fun time.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that, Ed. That line drawn at within reason, and see if we can see how close we can get to it.
A little bit more.
I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed right now, so I'll let you two talk while I drink my water.
Oh, he's got a goofy cup. That chair that does not go with the rest of your motif over there, sir.
It does not. It does not. You need like a goblet. You need like a goblet or something. Yeah.
Goblet.
I need a little thing of bourbon.
Yes. What were we talking about? I just totally lost track.
Famous people we would like to have on the podcast is way back.
I said DeWine.
I'm past that.
We're way past that.
All right.
Okay, so the next questions that I have for you are either personal or professional. So the question can relate to either one.
Okay.
Best accomplishment. I like to ask these 5 or 6 questions to everyone.
Best. You wrote this one, Isaac?
Could be professional or professional. Best accomplishment.
You go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's so easy to say, "Oh, I opened up a branch in Poland. Oh, I'm doing really good." Accomplishment for me, and it's personal, is making it with a 9-year-old, 5-year-old, 2-year-old, all 3 boys. Actually, it probably should be an accomplishment for my wife with me thrown in there. But just raising a family, I think, and as cheesy as that sounds, having 3, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. I love it to death. I wouldn't change a second of it, but it's also absolutely terrible all at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like the best, worst thing ever where you're like, oh my God, I love my kids. And the next thing you know, the little 2-year-old's fighting the 9-year-old and you're like pulling them apart, like trying to fight. So that is my accomplishment is a family, because if you would ask me in my 20s, I would never thought I'd be where I am and have kids and do all this. So that's my accomplishment. Top that one, Isaac.
Professional. I'm happy. I'm so happy I jumped into becoming a loan officer out of the industry I was in before, and I'm actually starting to see some success in that. And I don't know, nothing really too great professionally I've done yet because I'm young. But
well, you can pick either one. It doesn't really matter.
But then personally, I'll do both. Then personally, I'm happy I never moved back in with my parents after college, and I was able to get a house right out of college.
You were a very young homeowner.
I was. And then also just I am engaged to my fiance, and everything's going good, and I don't know.
And you're saying that because she's right over to your left shoulder.
She's over there somewhere. But yeah, it's been great. So.
And Luke's trying to hold a laugh.
Yeah.
Marriage. Yeah.
Best memory.
Best memory. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna just go back to my birth of my kids. Easy. That's easy one.
Okay.
I don't have any kids. I could go to a memory of my big brother. Like, what's a good memory between us as the MLO Bros?
You don't have your own?
I'm trying to think of a good one. A good memory we've had together.
Memory.
When he hired you as his assistant.
No, I'm talking like growing up. Good memory, Luke.
You said a memory.
The funniest memory I have of you still is ingrained in my head is when, this is probably 7-8 years ago, So you were early 20s when we went skiing, and we went down a double black diamond. And
Oh yeah, that was great.
I went down first, went halfway down, and it was really icy, really tough to ski down. I was like freaking out. So I kind of went, and I was like zipping down. I mean, it was like straight down. And I kind of went over to the side of the hill, got halfway down, and there's a ski instructor there. And she's like, this girl's like, it's really icy. You got to be really careful. She's like, are you okay? Because I just kind of like out of control went like on the side of the hill. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm looking for my brother. So me and this ski instructor turn and look down the hill, and all you see is Isaac, because it's super steep, super icy. Totally, like, I didn't see him fall, but all his gear was gone, and he's sliding all the way down the hill, trying to like grab on like in a movie, like Cliffhanger or something, like sliding, and he's just looking at it like, help me! He's sliding down, and the instructor just looked at, like, the ski instructor. I was like, I don't know, he's fine, and he just went all the way down the hill. That's
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Oh, it was so funny.
I tried to cut like you were doing, because I was trying to follow Luke, and I cut, and I got, somehow it was straight. The hill was straight down. Somehow I got turned around, so I was going down the hill backwards, and my skis had like trapped me upside down. So I was like falling down the hill backwards. I can hear Luke and the instructor laughing at me, and the instructor's like, "Should I help him?" And Luke's like, "Nah, he's fine."
It was like 300 yards straight down the hill, just Isaac sliding.
I slid for like 3 minutes.
It was funny. So yeah, the ski instructor, should I go help him? I was like, yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. But
so
yeah, there's plenty of good
that's
memories.
The funniest one. Yeah,
growing up.
Yeah, there's so many.
Best experience.
Oh, these are some humdingers here, man. Best experience
together. No, just separately. What is your best experience,
Isaac?
And just for your aware, I've had politicians cry on some of these questions because
I'm not going to do that
than the normal interview.
My mom planned. Or my mom, when she was a nursing professor at YSU, she had trips down to Mexico, in the Baja Peninsula of Mexico, in very, very, very extremely poor areas. And my mom and dad, my mom and dad took me there.
You know her mom?
You do? You know my mom?
I worked at the university. I worked at Youngstown State University as the purchasing coordinator and helped her with her trips.
Yeah. So those trips were so like eye-opening to me as a high school student, and then as a college student, to go down there and see that people around the world, there are some people around the world who have absolutely nothing and are living in like just mud huts, and they have all these health issues that my mom and the nursing students were helping them with, but they were, at the same time, they were so happy. And they had nothing. And you get caught up here, even here, like we're so, like, people here are so unhappy, but they have so much. So that was just such an eye-opening experience for me. And
we sometimes get the needs and wants a little bit mixed up at times.
Yeah. And people are so unhappy, but down there they have almost nothing, and they're such happy people. So it was a great experience. And
your mom's Dr. Pamela Schuster?
Dr. Schuster, yep.
She retired, last year?
She just retired this past
just
year.
Retired. Yep, yeah. She was there forever. I didn't even put that together, Anthony.
It was great going to YSU too, and O'Keel and we would like go mess with her during her class. It was awesome.
Experience for me, I worked on a cruise line for 2 years in my 20s before I worked at the bank. So I was assistant cruise director for 2 years, called Bingo, traveled all over South America, Alaska, Caribbean, Central America. So got to see the world. That's probably up there.
Okay.
The experience wise.
Role model.
Huh?
Who is your role model?
Role model. Good Lord. These are like ridiculous.
I call Dad. I'm giving my dad. I'll tell you what.
All right.
No, Fred Schuster, the big guy. He is one of those people that he always speaks his mind, and sometimes it gets him into trouble. And he's not like book smart. I would not call him book smart. I mean, he sort of kind of is, but not a genius in any way, but just always speaks his mind, always does the right thing. And honestly, if that's not Luke and I always speaking our mind and always, standing up for what we believe in, that's where we came from. And he taught us. There's a lot of that in both of us, and I really appreciate him for everything he taught us. So I never thought I would say that growing up because I was always fighting with him. But,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but he's great.
We were 16, 17-year-old know-it-alls. What do you expect?
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. So, you guys, you get older, you definitely respect your parents more, your mom and dad more.
Yeah.
Along with Pop or Dad, we have 4 uncles on my mom's side, and then my uncle John on the other. But 4 uncles and my grandpa, who Isaac, you were a baby when you were.
Like, I think
you were like 3 or 4 months. You were born, but
yeah.
So like, my grandpa was always a huge part of my life growing up. He died when I was like 16. But my uncle, so his sons, really, and it's my mom's the oldest, or our mom's the oldest of 6. So I am close to in age with some of my uncles. I think with the youngest uncle, I'm closer in age than Isaac is to me. So he's like 10 years older than me. So I would say my uncles, like all of them, and you could tell when I'm with them or we're around each other, you can see, and my wife, everybody says, is like, wow, you guys all act alike, because it's like I'm almost like the baby. My mom says it all the time. I'm the baby brother of her 6 siblings, if that makes sense, because I'm so close in age, and I was around there all the time. So,
and I've actually walked into Luke's office, and he was saying something, and I've worked with one of those uncles as well. In the trucking industry. He actually got me into the trucking industry, and Luke was complaining about something. And I'm like, wow, you sound just like Uncle Paul. Like exactly the same as Uncle Paul. So,
so that would definitely be my uncles for sure. I would think, so.
Yeah.
If there was one person you would like to meet, past or present, who would it be? There's a quiz after this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Who would I want to meet, past or present? Anybody?
You want to go, Luke, or you want me?
I mean, anybody? Like anybody?
Anyone?
Or like
anyone? Past or present? I had someone that said they wanted to sit down and talk to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln at the same time.
It's just at the table.
I was gonna go with like. See, to me, it's much deeper than that. So if I could
that's fine.
George Washington, great, yeah, blah blah blah. I would want to go back like 2 or 3 generations of either Schusters or McHughes.
Yep.
Of people I never met. So let's say I met my great grandma. Our great grandma passed away 9 years ago. So like her grandparents. So who were in Italy. I would like to meet them and talk to them and see what kind of connections could be made and kind of similarities, because there's got to be similarities there. That would be like it could be anybody, some sort of deep rooted 2 or 3 generations ago grandparent on either side.
Okay.
That's what
I'm nervous. I'm nervous to go like way back and meet someone like famous, like George Washington or Lincoln, or like even Jesus Christ. Like if you went all the way back, what if
there ain't nothing wrong with that?
What if they're not all that? Like what if George Washington's actually a big jerk face, and you're like, gosh darn it, I hate George Washington. Like what if it ruins it for you?
What if Jesus is like, wow, I can't believe this is the way everybody turned out.
Yeah, he's like,
and this is the example. This is what happens.
We're gonna have to change this.
Oh man, I know that's sacrilege to say, but like, what if Jesus isn't all that? What if he's not all that?
Oh my God!
This is God's son.
Anthony Spano's gonna cut the cord.
This
Cut
is
it off.
God's son.
Internet's so bad now.
Sorry, Anthony. That's
No, you know what? The reason why I ask those questions is because we're only human.
Yeah.
We're what people sometimes don't know is just who we are, and that's how you get to know them. And that's and I asked and I'm not gonna lie, I asked everyone. I've asked the Joe Schiavones, the J.P. Morgans, the Christina Hagens, and we kind of went through all those and just really kind of hit that so people understand and get to know these people, because that's the only way. You got to humanize them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the worst answer to that question? Can I ask that? What was the worst?
There's no worst to the last one.
Yeah.
There's no worst answer because each person is different. I mean, I sat down with Congressman Tim Ryan about 2 years ago for about an hour, and we videotaped it and we talked about everything.
Yeah.
And that just shows how human someone is. Doesn't matter if they're a politician, there's someone behind the scenes. They're a husband, a father, a dad. You know what I mean? So it all just depends. I mean, look at you. You guys are now in the spotlight. You're a father, Luke. You're also a husband. So, and we have a gentleman here that's going to be getting married. So he will be a good husband as well. Isaiah Cole. So we just sit back and enjoy it. That's all.
That's it. I like it. It's good. You now? I gotta ask you a question now.
No, actually, no. Our time is almost.
I gotta have this guy on the show. Isaac, get him on the show.
We have to get him on. We have to get him on. But we gotta think about going though. I gotta get going.
You gotta go.
Well,
we're going.
That's why I know you have something here shortly. So I appreciate you guys taking time. Stay on after I get off. Okay, real quick. So thank you for joining me tonight, guys. I really appreciate taking time. It's always good to help and really help. Just really help and promote everyone that's doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you gonna come on our show now, Anthony?
We'll talk.
I get it?
What if he's like, no, see you guys later. No, go
You're
away.
Always welcome. You're always welcome back on my show in the future, and we appreciate you joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
You want to check out more videos or podcasts or interviews, please go to anthonyvspano.com. Be safe. And God bless everyone. Have a great night.
Bye.